All right, here we go. It's time to talk about Deka Zone 2, which is 500 meters on the rower.
500 meters. Not that far, but because you're putting in a lot of effort, it's miserable.
Yeah, so I mean, it's honestly a tricky one because you just did the lunges right beforehand, and then right afterwards, you're doing plyometrics with the box overs. So that's three. I mean, it's essentially doing a strength exercise for your legs, then a cardio exercise for your legs, and then plyometrics for your legs all in a row. So your
Yep.
quads are going to burn real bad. And there have been multiple times where I have paced incorrectly and ended up going too fast on the rower and burning myself out. So it's an easy one to underestimate because you feel so good at first and then
Yep.
very quickly it goes downhill, right? I mean, the lunges aren't going to phase you because it's so early on. And on the rower, you've got that adrenaline going, you're feeling good, you're in your competition mode. So you just go, go, go. And then your heart rate gets too high, you build up too much lactic acid, and the entire rest of the race, which is 8 zones, you're screwed. So I would
Yep.
say the best way to train for it is one, row a lot, put in a lot of meters, do it in different ways, go for an extended amount of time where you're doing, 45 minutes, an hour at a lower heart rate, something like that. Do other times where you're doing more like intervals and you're um, you know, going fast, slow. Do other times where you're doing full sets at your race pace, so you're very comfortable with your race pace, and then do a lot of compromise rowing as well. Go for 500 meters, do some burpees, go for 500 meters, do some lunges, go for 500 meters, do some box overs, that type of thing. So you are just efficient and your body knows what's going on when you sit down on that rower. There's no surprises. And the more you do all those different combinations of rowing, you're just it's not gonna phase you as much, and you're gonna know how to handle it and know what pace to go at.
Yes. So I think that doing long duration sessions on the rower is a great idea. One, to build your skill on it, but also just to build your cardio and experience and time on there. And then also doing a lot of practice at that 500 meters to see what pace you can realistically sustain without burning yourself out and blowing up early on. So you already mentioned that, but it's important. It's very important that that be done. Otherwise, if you go into the race not knowing the pace, it's guesswork. And like you said, it's only the second zone. You're feeling good at that point. It's very easy to go too hard and overdo it. And at the same time, you might, if you don't know what pace you can sustain, you might ease off too much, thinking I don't want to overdo it, and take much longer than you need to. And you could have done sustained a faster pace. So definitely practice the 500 meters a lot to figure out what time is sustainable for you.
Yes, and then another very important thing, and this is something I see a lot, is take the time to practice rowing form. So you are rowing efficiently. There's some ugly rowing I've seen, and I used to be an ugly rower too. And now I've gotten advice from a lot of different people. I've gone to a lot of different gyms doing these events, and afterwards, somebody who has a lot more experience than I do will come up and give me a couple tips and something like that, and I'll adjust. And I've gotten to where I feel much better while I'm rowing, much more efficient. And that has made a huge difference. So practice the rowing form and then also practice with different damper settings. I've spent
Yeah.
a lot of time researching the damper settings, and there's no like clear answer as far as like, if you're this type of person, you should do this. And if you're this type of person, you should do this. It comes down to what feels best for you. And there are different tests online. I think Concept 2 themselves actually provides tests that you can do to just kind of figure out for yourself what damper setting is best. And different damper settings can sometimes be a little bit better at different distances. But since 500 meters is pretty short, you probably want to be at a little bit lower of a damper setting. excuse me. I'm usually around like, I put it at 5.5, between 5 and 6. That's where I like to put my damper. It feels good. There's not like too much resistance, but I can definitely feel it. So that's where I like to have it. And I don't usually mess around with it too much from there. That may not be the exact best thing, but that's what is working for me right now. But definitely take the time, go through some tests, play with the different damper settings, do 500 meters at 10, do 500 meters at 7, 5, 3, 1. Try them all out multiple times, not just once. See how it feels, and then just, you know, figure out what is best for you, because it's going to be different for each person depending on your build and your fitness level.
But yeah, what Luke was saying about the damper, I've also adjusted when I first started in doing Dekas, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago now. I think 4 years. I don't know. I had the damper set all the way up because to me it was like the more the resistance and the more meters I'm getting per pull, but it doesn't quite work that way. So I have since adjusted, and I'm down at pretty much at 3 or 4. It really just depends on the day. I've done a lot of practice at 3, and I've done a little bit at 4. I think I like 4 better at this point, but I'm still undecided completely. But yeah, definitely practice the damper settings, different ones, figuring out which one you prefer the most.
Awesome. There we go, guys. That's the breakdown of Deka Zone 2. We will be back for more pretty soon here with Deka Zone 3. So stay tuned, check it out, and we'll see you soon.
See you later.